patriotism, weapons, armies, navies.
I was looking out for number one, for me. I didn't have any empathy for anybody else because it seemed to me nobody had any empathy for me.
All that is a sign that we are not civilized yet. Kids will ask their parents, "Didn't you see the necessity of the machines? Dad, couldn't you see that war was inevitable when you produced scarcity? Isn't it obvious?" Of course the kid will understand that you were pinheads, raised merely to serve the established institutions. We're such an abominable, sick society that we won't make the history books. They will just say that large nations took land from smaller nations, used force and violence. You will get history talked about as corrupt behaviour all the way along until the beginning of the civilized world. That's when all the nations work together. World unification, working toward common good for all human beings, and without anyone being subservient to anyone else, without social stratification, whether it is technical elitism or any other kind of elitism, eradicated from the face of the earth. The state does nothing because there is no state. The financial, corporate and religious structures are a form of sickness that must be outgrown. Of course, we cannot be naive enough to think that the elites of these realms are going to subscribe to this idea, for they will lose power and control. Therefore, peaceful yet highly strategic action must be taken. The most powerful course of action is simple. We have to alter our behaviour to force the power structure to the will of the people. We must stop supporting the system. The only way the establishment will change is by our refusal to participate, while continuously acknowledging its endless flaws and corruptions. They're not going to give up the monetary system because of our designs and what we recommend. The system has to fail, and people have to lose confidence in their elected leaders. That will be a major turning point if the Venus Project is offered as a possible alternative. If not, I fear the consequences. The trends now indicate that our country is going bankrupt. The probability is our country will move toward a military dictatorship to prevent riots and complete social breakdown. Once the US breaks down, all the other cultures will undergo similar things. There is not going to be any recovery. This is not some long depression that we're someday going to pull out of. I think the next phase that we are going to see after the next round of economic collapses is massive civil unrest, when unemployment checks stop being paid because the states have no money left. And when things get so bad that people lose confidence in their elected leaders, they will demand change, if we don't kill each other in the process or destroy the environment. I'm just afraid that we might get to the point of no return, and that bothers me to no end. We do all we can to avoid that condition. It's clear that we're on the verge of a great transition in human life. That what we face now is this fundamental change of the life we've known over the last century. There has to be a link between the economy and the resources of this planet, the resources being all animal and plant life, the health of the oceans and everything else. This is a monetary paradigm that will not let go until it's killed the last human being. The in-group will do all it can to stay in power, and that's what you've got to keep in mind. They'll use the army and navy and lies, or whatever they have to use to keep in power. They're not about to give it up, because they don't know of any other system that will perpetuate their kind. Those who live by numbers can also perish by them, and it is a terrifying thing to have an adding machine write an epitaph. As long as the general population is passive, apathetic, diverted to consumerism or hatred of the vulnerable, then the powerful can do as they please, and those who survive will be left to contemplate the outcome. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. We live in a society absolutely dependent on science and technology, yet have cleverly arranged things so that almost no one understands science and technology. That's a clear prescription for disaster. The tremendous and still accelerating development of science and technology has not been accompanied by an equal development in social, economic, and political patterns. We are now only beginning to explore the potentialities which it offers for developments in our culture outside technology, particularly in the social, political, and economic fields. It is safe to predict that such social inventions as modern-type capitalism, fascism, and communism will be regarded as primitive experiments directed toward the adjustment of modern society to modern technology. Those who love peace must learn to organise as effectively as those who love war.